otherwise engaged board meeting and there's an issue. Austin, so he's otherwise engaged. So we have a quorum, and so we can conduct business. Next thing on the agenda is comments from the comments for the record by me. Just a point of interest. The new camera is up there that we just installed, where we get a better view of what actually goes on in the board meeting. But the microphone to that camera is very sensitive. So it picks up crowd noise probably as well, if not better, than the board discussion. So we would ask that if you're in the audience, please keep your comments to each other down, divided down on those. Now, you get two chances to make comments to the board in each meeting, but this is your first one. So if you have a comment that you would like to make, please stand and give us your name and lot number. And Scott's not here, is he?
No, I got it.
Okay, so where's your bring it? Any comments? Okay, moving right along. The next item on the agenda is to approve the minutes for the August 26, 2024 board meeting. Are there any changes to the minutes that you got that were on the table when you got here or were sent out earlier this afternoon?
I just have an editorial on number 3. It's a board meeting, BOARD. I did it all. Just make that editorial.
Or add.
Okay. Any more comments? Is there a motion to approve the minutes? Nancy moves. Is it 3 seconds? All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 8-0. The next item on the agenda is the treasurer's report.
Revenue for the month of August is in the positive is 62,000 versus budget. It's up 34,000. Next slide. Here are the major revenue contributors. The miscellaneous income was one large constitution of a lot. I think it was around 18,000. Large sales are up. Next slide. Some of the expense contributors are, I think the administration, the legal fees was a tiny thing. Expenses are up, of course, because of sales. Rich was telling me a little bit of his overtime too, trying to find staff. Is that correct? Okay, next slide. The cart balance went down. I believe it was some of the dam repairs and the large updates that were just recently done. Balances in all accounts. Current balance, 6.
Okay, are there any questions? Next item on the agenda is changes, recommended changes to committees. There's only one this month. is to remove MJ Pritchard from the nominating committee. Any questions on that or comments, concerns? Is there a motion? Tom moves. Second, any seconds? All in favor, please raise your hand. 8-0. Okay. The next item is the Park Three Group.
Good evening, I'm Jim Marcus, lot 177. I'm on the golf committee and also on the Park 3 committee. So what we're going for tonight is we're going to recommend some names for a vote for the community. We're going to go on that. So the agenda, there's a list of recommended names. We're going to show some example logos. Then we're going to ask for POA board approval to move forward on that for the community vote. So the name selection process, we had input from the golf committee, the Part 3 committee, and land use. And we compiled a list of names, there are probably over a dozen names that came in, and then we took that back to the committees and they voted on that. We eliminated a couple common names because we wanted to have the Part 3. We didn't want to have it the same name as 25 other golf courses in the United States. Then we picked the top 4. So here's the recommended Part 3 names that we came up with. 52, Coyote Hill, Wagon Wheel, and Windmill. They're in alphabetical order. So good question. Okay. What Carla Hecker's on the Part 3 team, she came up with some example logos. These aren't the final ones, but we just wanted the people to be able to look at it. So when we take this to community, we'll have all these logos in there so people can see what you can see on your shirts, hats, coats. We're gonna deluge you with stuff to buy. They'll pay for this. So go back to that one. So the inspiration on this was the 52, of course, the 52-acre story started by the POA board. Okay, the next one. Coyote Hill. So, as you know, we got a lot of varmints running around, so this is one that people throw out and we share the land with all the native animals. Next one. Wagon Wheel, this one's kind of a neat deal. This Part 3 course is designed on a hub and spoke. So for those of you that haven't seen it, every third hole, you're gonna be back at the starting point. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's where the Wagon Wheel came up with. Then the last one's the windmill. The windmill's atop the hill, the adjacent property. But it's kind of a lookout on that. So that's where that one came up. So what I'm asking for tonight is, or what our committee is asking for, is the POA board approval to use these 4 names. And then we want to send out a survey to the Lake Kiowa membership. We'll deliver it like the long range plan survey and have a 30-day window for the people to vote on it. And then all the members, regardless if they gave money or not, will have a voice on what the name is. We want to include everybody, not just the people that contributed. So that's all I had.
Okay, are there any questions from the board?
Was there any consideration to keep in what Kiowa Park 3? Because you have a cool logo that you put together at the very beginning. So was there any consideration for that? Not that that's the right thing to do. I just.
Yeah, we tossed that around, but it wasn't voted on. It wasn't one of the ones that we picked. That's kind of thing we use to get things rocking and rolling.
So has, the ACC reviewed this?
No, I talked to Pete and he said the next meeting is in October, so they have not reviewed this. So if you wanted to do it contingent upon their approval, that's the board's call.
Has the ACC looked at it? We don't name anything else out here in, so it needs to fit in their bucket.
Just speaking for the ACC, Pete's not here. The ACC would review the final sign for size, location, et cetera. As far as how the logo looks and the selection really isn't in their ballpark. It would be the final decision of the sign. It's more of the commercial signage. So it would be that, not the actual design of it.
Okay. Still, but
That's correct, yeah.
okay. Any comments, concerns, questions from the board?
I just have another question for you, Jim. So if we do put it out with a survey and people come up with other options and things like that, because that's part of the survey process, they can make a comment or whatever. Are we gonna consider those, or we're only gonna go for those forward right there?
So I think, we could put, the 4 choices down, you could put other and have a write-in candidate if you so desire, I guess.
I mean,
That was,
that's my question when you do the survey. Are they gonna have these are the only options they have, or can they write something in?
our intention was to use these 4.
You were saying that when you do the voting process, kind of like it's been out. Yeah, it's not a vote like we do in February, where it's, sent to the account. Monitored. Well, we need to vote, is this okay with us, one, the name it, and 2, are these okay to do it? Any more comments? Is there a motion?
I would move that we take the 4 selections and use them to project for the membership to comment and vote on.
I'll say. Okay, Marty moves to accept the 4, and it's okay to name the park. Is that right, Marty?
That's correct.
Is there a second? Did you say second, 15 seconds? All in favor, please raise your hand.
Just for a discussion.
Okay, we can do that.
Very good.
Okay. Is there a discussion that you would like to have?
I just have a question about who.
I didn't hear it.
We want to make sure that the motion didn't address who's responsible for creating, sending the survey. Filing. Would that be?
Well, there's a part 3 committee, and I would assume that's their business. You could do that. Part 3 of the golf committee. One of those.
Anything else?
I'm trying to decide if I want to amend his motion to include part 3. The Lake Kiowa part 3 logo. And so I'd like to amend the motion to include with the 4 choices, the current name, which is Lake Kiowa Park 3, and the logo.
You guys okay with that?
I'll second that.
Why made the original? For the two sections.
All in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, the next item, Rich, is the discussion of the new driving range.
All right, new driving range will be placed just, oh, sorry, thought it was on. There will be a new driving range constructed between the existing driving range and the par 3. As you can see, just past this sign will be the location. So the 52-acre committee has been looking at that entire area. And then next thing they're looking at is relocating the driving range tee area. It's going to be a larger range with raised targets and a larger tee area with mats. And possibly practice facilities in the future with some hitting bays. Along with looking at walking trails, west gate access, a new road gate, and then other things that master plan looked at, like RV boat storage, amenity center, as well as other items. So looking back at the master plan, you can see where the driving range will be located. The existing par 3, as it's being constructed, is a little bit smaller than that. So we'll actually slide the driving range a little bit further to the west, which will allocate more open area in the future where the existing driving range is. So relocating the driving range, you can see from this photo kind of what the existing driving range is and what the new driving range will look like. Overall, it's about twice the size. The tee areas will be a little bit larger if you include the future hitting bays. So you can see now, right now it hits from north to south. It's going to be reorientated so it hits from south to north. That'll leave room up north for a west gate. And if you can kind of see on this image, a little bit hard to see, but you can see kind of that light area outside the existing driving range where it's mowed right now, but not really part of the driving range. That entire area would basically be the size of the new driving range. You can kind of see it overlaid here, approximately where it would be sitting. And you can see how the current par 3 kind of looks like. And going back to Jim's comment of how it kind of goes around in a wagon wheel, goes from 1 to 2 to 3. You'd be back at the clubhouse. And then you'd be 4, 5, and 6 back at the clubhouse. And then you'd go 7, 8, 9 and back at the clubhouse, which would be in the center. And then just south of that would be the restrooms that the par 3 is constructing. So again, from an aerial view, you can see the par 3 holes where the driving range would sit. And then there'd be a restroom kind of in between that clubhouse area and the driving range. So again, kind of an aerial where you can see everything. That's kind of a drainage plan as well. You can see how long the tee is. Just the green area is about twice the size of what the existing is. And you can kind of see the little red lines, which would now be the new buffer area. This is the existing measurements of the current driving range, just the front deck, the depth, and you can see the back deck and the hitting mats are smaller. There's some vehicle parking and some cart parking. This would be the overall concept for when the entire area is finished. Again, there's a driving range, the future hitting bays, and then the tee area, which is about 100 yards wide. So yeah, it's about twice as large as the existing tee. The hitting bays would be actually an additional area. It's kind of showing where the ball machine would be, storage building, and then the restrooms labeled in between that and the pavilion. Some of this will be, future items, but you can see the overall concept as well as the vehicle parking to the east, and there'll be cart parking just along the T area. So this entire project costs approximately $360,000. We have a project bid contract from Grant Construction for $237,633.05, which is a fixed cost. We have some Lake Kiowa project costs that will be approximately another $120,000. Just to note, there is a donation from First State Bank, $100,000 after taxes. That'll net us $79,000 to offset the costs. And then you have to consider annual O&M costs will probably fluctuate between $15,000 and $20,000 for fertilizer, watering, etc. So we'll review this contract in a little while, but just say like some future additions, the cost of some of these future additions, like the hiking trail, Westgate, hitting bays, you can see, they'll tack on another $80,000 for a hiking trail. Westgate will be approximately $175,000. And that's $175,000 just because the gate itself is probably about $75,000 for that area, the concrete and everything. But just to run the road out to the county road will probably be about another $100,000 in itself. Then the hitting base structures and with furniture and everything, you're probably going to be looking at about $150,000 for the actual structure and facility. So then going back to all these other items, you can see how they kind of all overlay with the west gate at the north. Walking trail is kind of hard to see, but it's the red line that kind of dashes around everything. That would be approximately a mile trail. So it would be a fairly long trail and be the longest one we have. There'd be room allocated where the existing driving range is. You could put a RV park, trailer storage, just a green space, park area, many other things you could use there. Would like to note when we were talking about project costs, there's 2 lots on that little nose that kind of sticks out on the east. We could sell those lots and possibly allocate those funds to the west gate or something else. And then just some blow ups. Again, you can kind of see how the walking trail would go over on the par 3. We've looked at some areas that may be an issue, like at the number 5 green, which could be a hazard for some walkers. And we were looking at different types of screening and netting to protect the hikers. The west gate, and this is very preliminary, but you can kind of just visualize the length of that road to get out to the county. But have definitely enough space for that. Be left remaining. The hitting bays, we want to go look at Top Tracer as a brand just to see how they work. And we've gone out with the 52 acres, the golf committee, and looked at all these and again, trying to plan out the costs. We have some pretty good idea of what these would cost as far as a structure. There'd be monthly fees for the service, et cetera, and what it would cost the players extra, but that would be on the pro shop side. That's a summary. I have submitted the contract and some spreadsheets for the overall cost, so you can see what they are. The contract is actually pulled, it's the same contractor, it's pulled from the Part 3 contract. So other than just substituting some of the timing and the costs and scope, it's an identical contract. And yeah, just to note, the contract for approval is just the grant contract for the 237,000.
Are there any comments from the reason we're doing this now is because Graham is already there and they are charging us no setup fee. So they think it's $45,000-$50,000 for them not have to go away and bring their stuff back. So that's a big savings. $100,000 from First State Bank will come out in January. We have a contract with them, for them to give us that money by January 15th. So we will repay CARF with that. That. Any questions?
Yeah, I would just have to say the golf committee and those guys are very much behind this. I feel like that it's gonna be a great place for Kiowa to be. And that it's gonna, be a social thing as well as a golf thing. And I think that, you give our driving range a place to, go to the bathroom, you get a drink, or you can get something to eat up there, that the ball sales are gonna go up, and there could be some good synergy there for some revenue. I'm just excited about the whole 52 acres coming together. I think we can get something like this started, and these bays and the walking trail and all that would be really easy to raise funds and get things like that going. So I'm excited about it. I think it's a great thing.
And the golf committee has voted and has to go forward like that. I don't think you like. Confirm. Take care. All right. Thank you.
What's the actual net cost now with the donation and all?
About 270, roughly, 270, 280.
358 less than
280, yeah.
You mentioned all sales, you mentioned the subscriptions, top baser. Who's getting that money and how does that factor into cost savings?
It's kind of two stages. We'd have to work out right now, just for the driving range, another agreement with Lauren for some kind of payback at percentage or something that still needs to get worked out. And if we ever go forward with Top Tracer, which again is the future, have to figure out where we get that $150,000 from. At that point, we renegotiate the contract again. But those numbers aren't finalized yet, or what they would be. I mean, this will have to get settled first, and then we'd have to figure out what that percentage or what the payback is.
But yeah, it's like if the golf course is generating revenue, that some portion of that come back.
Correct.
Yeah, so preliminarily, we've had discussions with Lauren about some of this income cash flow, and Gerald and Dee and Nancy have agreed to serve on a committee, ad hoc committee, to deal with that and bring back to us, the board, an agreement that we would have a revenue share agreement. Because right now, it says if we improve something, that she has to pay us back. Well, it's pretty clear she can't do that.
So she's very open to profit sharing and having something that goes on that we can even, in her words, the next pro could take it. And, something that wouldn't be just to pay off the cost, it would be for future. She would like to get some sort of sharing.
Yeah.
So we'd have to get a cost back, and then another step would be to that and what percentage you know.
That's sort of the theory is to renegotiate the contract for just the term driving range. Get that improved. And then if we decide to do the hidden values at the Top Tracer, then that would be an event that we would renegotiate that.
So if I'm understanding what's before us right now, though, is just, putting together a new driving range with hitting areas and things of that, but there is no top tracer in this at all. The bays could be there in the future, whatever, but this is not what this is. This is about relocating the driving range and making it larger so it better serves our community. And there's nothing else from there.
Right.
Is that correct? Okay.
That's correct.
So the only income source here is just the ball machine.
Yes, is we will open, is we're voting here and completing that, yes, that would be. There will be some, the R3 is building bathrooms and a shade area, picnic area, that type of thing. And I'm sure that, Jeremy will have something for sale out there. And so, you can come back and bring, or you can hang your hat on, but.
That'll be separate from her deal, though. That's just
Right.
additional income.
Separate.
Yeah, yeah. Right, yeah.
Questions asked.
Yeah, there'll be other opportunities as this grows to have other income generators.
Think about
Any other questions?
The other questions I will say that is, part of our long range plan, and it's been on, I don't know how many long range plans, Corky can probably tell you how many years and years and years to do something to the driving range has been on there, so this is certainly a step towards something that we probably planned for 15 or 20 years, so is part of that going forward.
Okay, yeah, since we're getting ready to spend a lot of money, does anybody in the audience have a comment that they would like to make? Only on this issue, nothing else. Yeah. Yeah, brief. Anybody? I'll go on comment. Lot numbers, please.
Roger Treacher, yeah?
Lot number.
Roger Treacher.
Lot number.
Lot number 340, sorry.
Yeah.
The question I've got to the board is, do you look at prioritizing what projects should come first and, whether you should be doing this as the next project or something else in front of it, behind it? Is there like a list of all projects and how you prioritize them? This would be on the outside, simply on the pickleball guy. We have a driving range. We don't have any pickleball courts.
Okay, well, two things that you need to be aware of. Is one, we got $100,000 gift from First Lake Bank specifically to do this. That's the first thing. The second thing is we're saving approximately $45,000 to $50,000 because they're using the same contractor to build the driving range that's building the par 3. And if we bring someone else in there, they're going to charge us a mobilization fee to do this. So it just sort of makes sense to go ahead and get this done while the contractor's here. And since we have this money.
I think we said the net was $290,000. That's still $290,000 cost to our community, yeah.
Well, and that's why we're going to vote on it.
And
If the board doesn't want to do it, then fine.
you answered any questions from the
Sure.
audience, I'm just asking more questions.
Yeah.
And then, okay, the same contractor, have we asked him what he would charge us to do the 4 pickleball courts? So in terms of the savings, whilst he's here, et cetera.
He's a golf course guy. No, we've not asked.
The other thing on this is that we have $100,000 from the bank that, gave us money and 1.6 million from the community.
But still
That
costing us.
puts it real high on the priority.
Yeah.
When I think dollars is the best vote that you can get.
It's still $280,000.
So we'll end up with almost a little over $2 million asset for $237,000. Because all the rest you can get.
Yeah, I'm focusing just on the driving range. We have a driving range. There are things we don't have. And for the same money, we could have those items.
I think that if we had $100,000 from pickleball, you would definitely have our two.
Thank you for your question. I think it's a great question as to how we prioritize things within our community and how we use the dollars that we have, actually, sometimes the few dollars that we have. One of the things that we do look at is we do a community survey. We do look at that. We see what people that responded to the survey have suggested that should be priorities for the community. We have a list. We'll actually be talking about those a little bit later. Pickleball is on there. But, you know, driving range and walking trails are two big things that always come up that our community wants. And then I think we talked to the Pickleball Association and talked to them about what we can move forward and how we can move forward. I know they come to the Long Range Planning Committee. It is on our list of priorities that are out there. They do sort of move up and down as the funds come in, as well as the community says. So I think that's part of what drives that also.
So is it waiting for those results before deciding what's next?
I think the board already has some of that information in their packet, and we'll present that a little bit later. And I think the priorities really haven't changed a lot from where they have from a master plan perspective either. So maybe a few things have gone up. We push forward the walking trails and things like that.
Okay, thank you. Aaron, I see you called 91. I just wanted to, we'll talk about it later on the additional business, but just for Roger and for the board identification, we did go through long-term planning and we did just complete the member survey. So walking trails was the most requested thing in the short term, driving was second, and then pickleball and 37%. So there's a lot of momentum on all these things, but there was people that we asked them, right, if you need it now or in the future, or don't need it at all. You know, 56% of the respondents said driving range, need it now, and pickleball is something like 54%. So you know the numbers. I'd be to share this with you at any point. Okay, thanks, Dan. Anybody else? Okay. Is there a motion to approve the driving range as presented and the contract as presented? Contract has a specific value. No, I want the total 358 for the driving range. One, yes, build it. Two, 358, not to exceed 358 or not to exceed 375, something like that. And then approve the contract. That's why I asked about the net part. Yes. Well, stamp. That. You don't hear. 1,000. Okay. Most. Right. Well, but we're gonna spend 358,000.
The contract only for 238 is 150K just out of POA funds. We're gonna provide some of the items.
And then we'll deal with the O&M stuff. When we get the budget stuff. Approve the project. Approve 358, subject to getting 79 net back. And then
You can do the contract separately if you want.
okay, yeah, and approve. Okay.
Use a dollar amount, use a dollar amount.
Okay. We could go. Okay, any comments about that? Concerns?
My concern is at least $0 for any overrun.
Do 375. Do 375.
Rich, what did you think?
Do 375 not to exceed to make it a project.
I'll go on comment about this here.
375.
That's a gross amount.
Not to exceed.
Not to exceed 375.
We're not making any mention here of the donation.
No.
No.
Right, we have a contract, they will give us that.
Renaming the motion at the second.
Correct.
At 375.
All right. All in favor? All right. A, B, C. Next item is to approve the contract at $37. And that contract is exactly the same except for includes numbers. That's what we signed for the part. But Mr. Bidwell is that okay on this? Okay. Any comments or concerns about this? All in favor?
Was there a motion and a second?
Is there a motion to approve the contract?
I make said motion.
Thanks. Nancy seconds.
Okay, I'm confused.
Want me to clear it up?
Yeah, I guess.
The first motion by Maria was to approve the spending of $375,000.
Not to exceed.
For the driving range. I just made a motion to approve the construction contract specific to the driving range, and someone seconded it.
Nancy.
Good. What's the difference between the two?
The construction contract is a different document for the total amount of money we decided to spend for the 375.
The first motion was just for the general scope of the project, and this is for a contract within the project.
Correct. Thank you. Motion second.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second to approve the contract as written. Is there? Please raise your hand.
I would agree with the contract. Dylan first, and Nancy second. And then
8-0.
Casey.
Anything else on the part of the driving? Okay. Next item on the agenda is a deconstitution of lots 109 and 101. Rich,
Yep. Oh. Okay, hopefully this one's easy. The deconstitution, lots 1009 and 1010 at 400 Kiowa Drive West. The Mitchells currently own the house there. They are subdividing the lot, and relative will actually build a house on the divided lot.
Say Rich, is 400 Navajo Trail? Not Kiowa Drive.
Oh, that's correct.
Okay.
Navajo Trail, sorry. And then as you can see here, the lot that's going to be built on that's subdivided is right by Nortex. The current residence is just to the north. Here's a survey of the future lot, and you can see the existing house just to the north. You can see that existing house is a little bit close to the property line. And it's actually over the setback line. So what they'll need to do is replat this and subdivide it to kind of notch out the property to get the necessary setbacks. The floor plan of the future home, those notches will not affect the house itself. They'll kind of cut in, but won't affect that. You can see here kind of what it'll look like. It's a little awkward shape, but it makes the setbacks work. They have all the other necessary paperwork from septic, from all the utilities, as well as notice and affidavits. So this will need to go to the county for a replat. The county commission will review this and sign this as well. Once that gets signed and with the affidavits, then we can record it at the POA, and they can move forward with the construction of the home. Asking just for approval of the board, to get board minutes to approve the deconstitution.
just for the,
That's correct.
any comments, questions or comments for Rich?
Deconstitute the lots is who governs that, like notch out? Does the ACC look at that and say, hey, this is fine?
Yeah, the ACC has reviewed this.
They're fine with it?
They're recommending to the board for the deconstitution. Yeah, it's just to make it compliant, you know, yeah.
I didn't know
Yeah.
that was something they did like that, though, or if this was a special ask.
Well, how this started out was if they didn't have that setback issue, they would have been able to easily revert back to the original property lines, and it would have been a much easier deconstitution. Because of this, they have to go to the county to replat it.
Any other comments or questions? Is there a motion to approve them? Please. Any comments? All in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you. And the next item on the agenda really is just informational. Rich sent out the schedule by email last week, wasn't it? And just for your information and adding to your calendars, most of the budget workshops are on Wednesday. There will be at 6 o'clock in the southwest room, and maybe an hour and 15 minutes each. And, you know, we probably only have 3 of them, maybe 2. So 3 last year, so probably, well, it probably.
And we'll send out a packet about a week before, so you have time to digest everything before the first meeting.
Now it shows on the review schedule that we have different sections. So like you have administrative, you call at different times, different meetings. Okay. So that can certainly impact your schedule. You can move them all up.
It's flexible.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
At least. So it matches the summary. Okay, any questions about this? Fun times, budgets. Okay. Next item is, once again, another FYI kind of item that gives the committees their deadlines for getting things into the communique and published out to the community. And it really only impacts nominating committee and the bylaw committee. Next item is because when we moved the meeting to the 4th Monday, that is problematical for the November and December board meetings, because that puts one in between Christmas and New Year, and the other one, same, the Monday after Thanksgiving, so people still have trouble getting back.
Monday,
I thought it was still, is it?
could be the 25th and Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Okay.
Correct.
So what we'd like to do, with the board's approval, we'll need a vote on this, is to move it back to the 3rd month of those 2 months. We could move December, we can move, further if you would like to. We just will not have the financials for the December meeting. And so we'll have 2 treasurer reports in January. And we've done it before. I did it this last year, so it's not that big a deal. But it gets you done with board stuff before the holidays start percolating. So, any questions?
Yeah.
It's on. And your board, your board is conflicted on the 18th.
The November one.
Yeah.
I'm here all week of Thanksgiving, but that may not be the case for everyone, so I can do Monday the 25th of Thanksgiving.
I mean, if everybody's good with the 25th, then let's do it. Yeah.
I don't know if this is that big a deal, but if we do the 9th of December, we could be ahead of, get in line if there's anything put in there. Meetings too close together.
Well, it just depends on what we need to do. You know, last year we had the part 3 thing that we had to vote on. But one, we had to vote. But there's on that, yeah. keep it on the 25th. But, okay with that?
Yeah.
So it's 25th, and you don't have to do anything. We're not moving.
Yeah.
And then December, oh, that's a good point. That we're gonna vote on the budget though in November. So that'll be prepared.
Yeah. I mean, we're gonna have some bylaws that will have to go on.
Actually, the later the better then.
Okay, so we'll be able to do that on either of those days.
Yeah.
I mean, I
On the
think
ninth,
this, well, I think the ninth is probably a better thing, because although we say we're gonna approve the budget in November, there's something else could always come up, and so it does hurt happen.
yes.
And so I think December the ninth is probably the better date, because it gives us communicate, gives the bylaws a better option, and helps us with our budget, so.
Okay.
Makes it easier for everybody.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And Sean's on here too, before the communicate.
So I move that we, move the December board meeting to December the ninth.
Sean seconds. Nancy. Sean seconds. So, any questions or comments or concerns about December 9th board? meeting? Last year we had 6. So. Okay. Is there a motion? Oh, you have. Okay. We do? We vote now. Okay. Okay. All in favor, please raise your hand. All right. December 9th it is. Okay. We have the Lake Committee. Park. Susan.
You just looking for the charter first, or?
Yeah, we'll just do the charter first.
All right, as part of the Lake Committee, we've, I'll give you a little update. I took over as chairperson January 1.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I'm Cecil Heath, lot 297. As part of the Lake Committee, I took over as chairperson January 1 of this year. We began a process to review a number of things, and one of them was the lake charter that we had. We did not have an official one posted for the committee, so we went through and revised and updated. You can take a look at it and see it. You'll get to see it in the presentation I'm going to do here a little bit later, but basically what it does is gives you what the Lake Committee is all about, structure of the Lake Committee, policies, procedures, processes, and we're looking to have that approved by the board so that we can move forward with it as the official charter. If you look at that charter, it mirrors pretty closely to a lot of the other charters that are out there for committees. I went and looked at a number of the major committees and modeled it pretty similar. Question?
Okay, so you're not gonna tell us what's in the, that you do your. Okay.
Yeah, the charters are part of that presentation.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, okay.
great. Okay, go ahead.
All right, so part of the process that the board has implemented in the last year or so is to have each critical committee present in front of you folks an annual update for, you know, in this case, the Lake Committee, of what the Lake Committee is about, where it's been, what it's doing, and what it's planning to do in the future. So again, if you go, there's Lake Committee charter, that's what our charter looks like, word for word. You know, key things, I'm not gonna read it all, but one of the things you can look and see is that it was created with the purpose of protecting and maintaining the desired conditions, in a number of different things, the lakes, lake waters, the adjoining POA properties, all publicly POA owned lake facilities such as boat ramps, docks, etc. What we're looking for in this charter is to basically provide, you'll hear me say this quite often, a clean, healthy, and safe lake environment, not only for today, but for years to come. A part of that is, and again, I'll read it, prudently and effectively utilize the funds accrued in the Lake Management Reserve Fund that has been implemented over the last few years. The intent of that, it's to satisfy the goals and objectives as stated above. Provide a safe, clean, environmentally healthy lake for everyone to enjoy, not only for now, but for years to come. And then also, our duties as a part of that committee are to assist you folks, the board, and the community manager in fulfilling, lake management responsibilities for Lake Kiowa. Okay, next slide. There you'll see current lake committee structured members, pretty talented and diverse group. A number of them, matter of fact, if you look at Lake Committee, it was established in 2019. This committee is not all that old. When you look at all of the other committees that have been around Lake Kiowa, this one is fairly new. Why, I don't know, and I don't understand. Again, one of the things I'm going to ask you to mentally think about is when I talk about the community's priorities and needs, assets for this community. I'm going to name you my top three. I'd ask you to mentally think of what your top three are. For me, number one is the lake. If we don't have Lake Kiowa out here and healthy, Lake Kiowa isn't Lake Kiowa as it is today. The second one would be the golf course, and then third, I named this area, the lodge and pavilion. It's a central focal point. But back to talking to priorities. The lake, this lake should be our top priority as a community. And again, the priorities are to ensure that we've got sufficient funds and resources that are available to manage and maintain those lake assets. And again, it's in a manner that you'll hear me again say it, environmentally safe, and and personally for people for whether you're a recreational boater or you're a person swimming in the facilities that are here, or I'm a fisherman, by heart, so anything with fishing activities. It's also to ensure this asset is a top priority going forward. Again, I actually mentally take note of your three, my three. The number one is this lake. Things that can happen. If you folks have ever heard of Bachman Lake in Dallas, Bachman Lake in Dallas was a lake that became environmentally not safe and unusable. The city of Dallas, because of the folks there in that area and region, asked and requested for it to become back to where it was, a usable asset to the community. You know what it cost the city of Dallas? Nobody will really tell you the exact figure, but probably close to $50 million on a 205-acre lake. So, back to priorities and what we're looking for here as a community, it's keep this place safe and healthy. Okay, next slide. Again, you're going to see objectives, let's preserve our lake. Again, we've got a number of folks on this committee, and you'll see that the bullet points down below. Again, you can read the verbiage up above, but it is also utilizing those lake management assets. We hold monthly meetings and we cover business items on a monthly basis. We review the Lake Management Fund. Again, a spending plan and or where we are versus a spending plan, just like you folks go through your monthly budget. We go through the same thing in our meetings. And then also this board update that we're going to do annually, so that and understand where we are. Matter of fact, when I talk about, and you'll see a little bit later in budgetary work, some figures that I'll throw to you as to what we're doing, what we've got planned, what we've spent. Policies and procedures. This is dead critical. We're in the process of going through and reviewing policies and procedures. There aren't very many true lake policies and procedures. There's a lot regarding lake safety, but not so much lake policy. One of those that we're going to be talking about and hoping to present down the road here in the near future to the board is contingent on finally putting something in place to control motor size on outboard motors and total length of boats that can be used in Lake Kiowa. Again, there's a lot of work to be done in that area, but we as a committee are planning to come forward to the board and finally put something in place, because if we don't, there can be some pretty serious critical consequences. Okay, next. Again, provide input on the lake management budget. One of the things we've done is consultants, where we've been with work and what we've done with projects and what we've spent the money on that has been, you know, that comes in every month, you know, in the Lake Management Reserve Fund. Silt prevention, you know, you'll hear dredging, the word dredging, and where are we with dredging? Well, we do have dredging plans in the future, but when we had our consulting group, Dredge Smart and Pond Medics out here, the thing they told us is start with stop the bleeding, stop soil erosion, and stop silt prevention, stop it from coming in. Dredging is an expensive alternative to stopping the bleeding. The best place to do that is up front. And so you'll see a lot of our work and our expenditure has been in riprap projects around the lake, and or especially at low water too, where you'll see a lot of major construction that has been done in the last year or two. That's to prevent silt from coming into this lake, so we don't have to go dredge it. You know, we will go dredge at some point down in the future, but for now, our main focus is on prevention. You know, when you look at objectives of projects assigned, you know, again, for us, you know, we've evaluated and updated our current, you know, fiscal 24 plan, and it's pretty much basically over. A lot of that had to do with low water too. We're also doing some things to improve communication activities. You'll see on our website on the Lake Kiowa page for committees, things that we've added there. We now do a quarterly communique article, and we're also making sure that people are well aware of where we are with what we are trying to do, you know, from a lake perspective. Again, we do that quarterly, you know, and again, when I talk about updating dredging actions and estimated costs, when you look at our budget plan, 2024, we spent, I'm trying to think, I don't have the exact number offhand, but you know, $40,000 or $50,000 is what we've got budgeted. We'll come close to that, and that's all in riprap and or soil erosion stuff right now. We are going to spend anywhere between $120,000 and $150,000 next year. Most of that is in the retention ponds. So we have 3 here. We're the low water 1, low water 2, low water 3. Getting the silt out of those so that water can flow in and not, you know, and make them deeper. If you see over a period of time, they will silt in. That's what you want. You want it to drop into ponds and not come flowing into the lake. That's now on a religious 3-year plan. It's not, well, we'll do it and then we'll delay it and maybe we'll get it done in 5 years. No, we're going to do it 3 years, or if we have to do it sooner. Those ponds have to be silt pulled out of those to make them effective and efficient. And so that's a big expenditure for us right now. In the budget plan, we've got dredging coming. If you were to look, I talked about Bakken Lake and what the city of Dallas spent. Well, if you looked at what Lake Kiowa might spend, $12 to $14 million maybe to hit all of the codes that we have. So we don't have $12 to $14 million. So effectively, you know, pick and choose the right places, you know, to do some dredging. We've picked, as a matter of fact, I heard the word mobilization earlier. Mobilization and demobilization on a dredging project could run as much as $150,000 alone itself. That's what it costs to get a company out here, get them all set up, and then when they have to, you know, do hollow and tear down. And that doesn't even cover the dredging costs. So what we've targeted is ones that were done on a pilot a number of years ago. They're where our two main other docks are. You know, those are the best places probably to start with. I won't call them pilots, I'll call them full-fledged dredging projects because they're manageable, they're not huge codes. But they will be needed if we want to keep longer term. And where is that first dredging project planned, 2026 or 2027, probably, yeah. But that's where we'll go to keep our boat docks open so we can get, you know, boats in and out of here besides our main boat ramp. Okay, excellent. All right, when you look at significant achievements of the committee, you know, again, this committee was only started in 2019. It's pretty darn new. Initiation of the Lake Management Reserve Fund in 2020. This lake was basically built in 1967, so it took us 50-some years as a community to finally decide that it was important to take care of our lake. I will tell you that's not a good thing. You know, you don't want to end up with an unusable lake, because if the lake deteriorates, property values are going to go down pretty quick. Yeah, that's just a given. Golf course, yeah, we'll have a golf course here, but it won't be Lake Kiowa as you see it today without a lake. You know, that pilot main lake bridging project, we did it in 2019 at Quantum Little Cove. Basically some of that silt has come back in, but at least it kept the boat ramps there operational, and there's still are. It's just low water areas. We've developed and are continuing a 5-year, matter of fact, it's an 8-year rolling plan on what we've got and what we present, you know, what I presented to Rich, and, you know, and you'll see with the board and what our spend would be. You know, again, this establishment target of ongoing work to do silt prevention and soil erosion. That even goes back to even ACC and all the construction that goes on lake front lots. Silt fences, you gotta have them up. You don't work, you know, we don't want that stuff coming back into the lake. All right, challenges. We've got challenges. Again, when you look at the community, it's even what I'm doing now, but it's also getting it out to all of the people in the community of what lake management is all about. You know, and for them to know and understand that they can go find it other places, they can come ask any of us also, you know, if they've got any questions or concerns. A biggie here, lack of critical controls. You know, we don't have hardly any established really procedures or process or rules, controls, especially for the type of boat that can be out here on the lake, and also the size. As I guarantee you, if you go 5 years from now, if you don't do anything, there'll be 30-foot boats out here, probably with dual motors on them, because they're starting that in a lot of lakes. What do you think that's going to do to the shorelines and to the docks, the property owners that live on this lake? It's not going to be pretty. It just won't be. It's not that big a lake where we should have 400 horsepower motors and 26, 28, 30-foot boats out here. This is not the place for that. Inflation, you know, inflation's got everything. You know, you're dealing with it all the time. Inflation is a reality. So we're going to be continuing to come forward every year with looking for the 5% max on increase to the fund so that we can raise enough money to do the things that we really need to do. Because you'll see down there that, you know, at the bottom, larger periodic project dredging, you know, to dredge, we've got an $800,000 project in 2026 to do those 2 small coves with, you know, mobilizing a company in here and doing something to those smaller coves. A bigger cove is going to be $1 million just in one of the bigger coves. Okay, so that's where we are. That's what we're about. Any questions?
Any questions from the board? Thank you, Cecil.
Yep.
Okay, we need to, vote to accept their charter. Charter. Any questions on that? Comments? Is there a motion to approve their charter? Motion to approve charter. Okay, Larry. Move. Okay. On seconds. Are there any comments or questions now? Okay. All in favor, please raise your hand. Good job, Cecil. Thank you very much. Okay, the next item on the agenda is our community manager.
Yeah, I just wanted to start off again with the West Nile. I don't know if you saw the weekly update that went out a couple weeks ago. Had a gentleman pass away. Just wanted to bring up the seriousness of it again, making sure everybody takes the necessary precautions. We'll do what we can. Fall setting in, rains are going to be coming. We'll continue doing the testing as long as the county does. The county actually takes them and gets the test down in Austin. They'll stop sometime as we get closer to winter. Not sure when they'll stop the samples, but at some point they will. Just wanted to bring that up again. I'll move into just the funding request now, and they'll hit the CARF sheet later, and we can talk about that. But ARF, we had the control panel approved last time to add to the ARF schedule. Talked to Brian and that about possibly getting other bids or what we can do. It's proprietary. They have their local distributors and installers. It basically is what it is. Wish there was another solution to that, but other than changing the system over or doing something else, it's just a repair of the part that we have. So I'm just asking to confirm the approval of those funds and that amount.
Okay, is there a motion for that? He moves to buy the control panel for $97,588. Is there a second? 3 seconds. Any questions or comments? Okay. Okay, all in favor, please raise your hand.
The next thing is BBA, our consultant for the dam. We've installed the piezometers. We've been collecting data. Got a proposal basically to kind of set up a plan for them to kind of control all that data and give us just basically feedback and analyze so to create the plan is about $7,500 not to exceed. And then for the initial results and reporting for this year, it's $8,000 not to exceed. This will be an ongoing expense. It'll be less than $8,000, or it won't be that expensive. I'm waiting for the 2025, but the initial costs are higher just to get everything started, and then it hopefully will only be $5,000 or $6,000 annually. But that'll be an annual item. I think the initial cost should go under O&M, and then the reporting as the general maintenance will create a line on them in O&M, but do that expense and O&M expense just to designate where that money would go.
I agree. It's about it.
Quick question for you, Rich. Did I read in there that we're actually gonna collect the data?
That's correct. We collect the data, give it to them. They kind of organize it and then report it back to us. But yeah, we collect the data just like we do with the dam stage, and then we do our yearly inspections and they collect everything. This is a little bit different type of information, so that's their recommendation is they can keep an eye on it monthly as we're going through, and they can analyze it a little bit better that way and actually have a formal document to create.
We collected, pass it on to them.
That's correct.
Reports.
Yeah, that way they're not coming out here. That's not part of it. That saves the money right there. We can pull them up and download all the information.
Just a follow-up question. Who collects the data for us?
Scott does right now.
That's an every year expense. Well,
Correct.
You know, as far as what they think their 2025 will be.
Hopefully January, February. I don't think it'll take them that long to get it out, and we'll be doing another internal inspection report in December. End of the year, we do our own internal and supply it to them and to the TCEQ.
So the proposal for 2025 still will know how to do budget.
Well, hopefully, I was hoping maybe to get that today. I was talking to her, but I didn't get it today yet. So hopefully I should get that shortly.
any more comments? Is there a motion to approve this?
I mean, we approve, amount not to exceed $7,500 for establishing the plan preparation.
Yep.
And then $8,000 not to exceed for generation of the reporting for 2024.
We don't know what the annual number is going to be.
2024. That's a total of 15,500.
I second.
Any further comments from anybody? Okay, all in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, so next.
I'll go after this, since it's funding and everything. Just wanted to go over all the CARF projects. People brought it up lots of times. We don't put this up on the screen.
Okay.
Just kind of wanted to show, how we go through everything, the completed projects, the projects that are approved but not completed yet or per se. And then we just have all these other items that have been discussed either at the end of the board meeting of things we'll be looking to do in the following year, like we had 2024 proposed projects. And then everything else is just beyond. There's really no set order. It's kind of what's ever prudent at the time, and move items per long-range planning surveys, for funding, just pending conditions that we have. But you can see, if we did all the projects, as they are right now, we'd run out of money this year if we did everything that we had on the plan. Just in here, if we did the front entrance project, the driving range, if we do the West Gate, we have to do the dam repairs at some point. I think those will probably move over until 2025, but one lane bridge will need to get done 2025, probably the latest. So, I mean, we have a lot of large expenditures that will basically drain those entire funds. And then we also have CDRF, which currently has about $250,000 in it. We kind of earmarked, put one item in there, pickleball courts for 200,000. But again, that's just a placeholder. Nothing's really, set in stone. These are all just placeholders trying to account for estimated sums and just a schedule. Any questions on this?
One question I have on that one is we have a placeholder in there for the front entrance, and so do we have a timeline or anything? Just anything come up on that?
Going through some of the,
Next year?
yeah, actually, we were talking about actually moving it out. Just talking to other committees that have some other issues with it, and just the timing we've had on it. And if we do go forward with the driving range, and it might be prudent to do the Westgate first, just for logistics, and get the Westgate built and operated before we do anything to the front entrance physically. We may, maybe just the front entrance, we instead of doing the lane changes in the hut first, maybe we renovate the guardhouse first, in the meantime, while we're constructing the West Gate. So logistically, we'll have another alternate egress, as opposed to shutting down the front entrance when we build it. But people have had concerns in other committees that we've been bringing it up to. So trying to address those concerns, just the turns, issues with some utilities and different things. So some other things have come up, and kind of just reanalyzing it to a certain point, and just logistically, as we were discussing, it might be prudent to do the West Gate first.
Okay, so my question to that would be, did we need an update on the front entrance committee from them?
Yes.
And what the project's gonna be, because I think that's probably the number one thing that impacts everyone in this community.
Right.
And so if there's anything we get done, that would be it. And so,
Yeah, again, they're in discussions right now. I don't have anything like set yet.
it'd be great for them to come to the board and let us know, because I think, I don't know about anybody else, but I get questions about that all the time. And that's what we committed to the reimbursement. I think we need to stand by that.
Any, more questions? Do you have any updates on the pickleball?
I got some other updates. I mean, BBA, again, we're trying to get some bids from Chapman and some other divers to move forward and hopefully get TCEQ approval soon, so we at least get our ducks in a row to do the low flow outlet kind of investigation and repairs. The project manager that was approved last month hired Jim Fox as the part-time project manager. Pickleball, we've got the soils report and the topo. After analyzing that, we've revised the site plan slightly. So we're looking at the site plan and figuring out how we can mediate any retaining walls or other foundation issues. And I'm gonna get that together, get their approval just from a basic site plan. It's gonna be basically what I presented with some small changes. And I'll send it out to the people who I've contacted before, do an RFP and get some bids again, so we can get at least some solid pricing on the pickleball courts, and then maybe go from there.
You'll have that next month?
Yes. And then just to hit on, I don't have a real security report, but I do have some numbers. This last month, we had about 3 hours on the jet ski, 7 hours on the boat. They did have 3 calls for a disabled boat, so they did tow 3 boats additionally. There were 51 citations and 15 warnings written this month.
So one more question for you. On the, low water valve, is that what we're calling it?
Low flow out.
Low flow valve.
Yeah.
So we're waiting on TCEQ approval.
Yeah, they had to submit like our plan, like we approved it. They have to send it to TCEQ for approval, and then they kind of have to approve the contractor as well. So we get bids on the work, the contractors, and they have to be approved contractors basically, which Chapman's already done it, so I really don't have an issue, but they do have to sign off on it.
Okay. So, because one of the things we talked about there was trying to do it whenever the lake was lower.
Right. Well, it's just getting ducks in a row, and then we'll figure out a schedule. But yeah, just trying to get all the paperwork done, get the bids in, get the bids approved, and see what their schedules are first, and see what they can do. Yeah.
I thought we were just trying to determine what our timeline was with the contract.
No, we're still waiting from when we approved the funds, I gave them the go. Then they submitted everything to TCEQ, and we're still waiting to hear back from them.
So we're waiting on TCEQ.
Yeah. Okay.
Anything else, Rich?
No, just waiting on bids too from the divers, et cetera. So we're still waiting on that too.
Okay. Next, on the agenda is additional business. And I believe Dan is going to make a presentation. I have 2 things that I'm putting during your first is follow up on the lake community survey. So I think you've had access to the big survey results, which I know is hard to go through every 4 pages, lots of individual comments. So the long-term planning committee put together a summary, this 1 page and a half, just to show you what really has come up. First thing I want to talk about is that the response rate this year was definitely lower than years past. In the past, we had like 35 and 40% responded from the members. This year, we have 20 to 25% respondents. And based on our discussion, I'm sure there's other potential opinions here, but not doing the survey with the February votes on bylaws and board members probably impacted the response rates and voting and something that was just sort of a, process for this community. However, if you do go through the survey, or when you go through the survey, we'll see a lot of really good information in there and some good news. The first thing is question around satisfaction, and 88% or 89% of people said they love it here, they're satisfied here, or on the right track. So very few people said that anything was really lacking in the community. So we take that the progress that's being made, the efforts are being done, the POA are being appreciated by the members. To Cecil's point, there was a lot of feedback around the lake, people not understanding what's going on. Probably if you look at all the comments in there, the most common comments were around the lake. Why is the judging happen? We have all this money, why are we using it? So a lot of it was definitely member education opportunities. And I'll tie this back up to a later comment, but, part of that is also, would people be willing to spend more if we're able to make those? One of the items that popped up on the priority list was an activity or fitness. So a lot of comments in there are around building something. People have different ideas of where and what. The concept is pretty generic at this point in people's minds, but is there an opportunity to kind of sharpen the pencil and talk to some folks and get an idea of what the community really wants, and understand what could we do, ballpark how much it probably costs, and have some discussion around how potentially could that be done. So that was much higher on the list than it was in years past. A lot of positive feedback from all the activities that were done in the community. July 4th, those one that always gets highlighted, all the concerts that are out there. People wanted to do more concerts. They love that. They love the opportunity for people to get together. And folks that do not have been able to meet before. There was definitely some comments on the board. It's nothing different. I don't think that people have heard in the past. It's more of a smaller number than, jumping out at you within a survey. But it was really, the theme was listen to us more and give us better opportunity to provide feedback and to understand what the board is doing. So create different venues around it. We started with technology. There are other things we can do from a technology point of view to help expand the scope of the meeting. I mean, pretty small percentage of the community here at any one meeting today is no different than any else. So what can we do to help that? Could we do specific focus groups, remember meetings on specific topics? Can we meet with, this kind of came up, and I didn't think about it before, but can we meet with key constituents, whether they're members or not, be it real estate agents, contractors, other people that have a lot of activity around basic income. So that was another big thing. On the second page, the other thing that really surprised me was, within the survey, we asked, what did you want? But this year, for the first time, I asked, okay, if you want these things, how may you want to pay for it? Since there's just not a lot of excess money sitting around to do these. So, almost 2/3 of the respondents said they're open to having a separate reserve fund for specific items. So if there's something out there that we really need to do, could we create a separate fund to have money put into, so we can make sure that money gets done? And over half of the members said they are open to an assessment if it's tied towards a particular part. So I was surprised on both fronts that people are willing to think about separate funds, potential assessments to get things done. Are there any questions or thoughts on those? And I kind of highlighted this before when I was talking. When we looked at it from a long-term planning perspective, looked at it from a master plan perspective, a lot of discussions, we really kind of prioritize, and this is in your packet, what are the items, if you're able to build or improve amenities, what would they be? Walking trails was a huge item within the member survey. Definitely came up 2/3 of the people that responded said they need more and improved walking trails, which is much higher percentage. And some of the feedback around that was typically have some walking trails, but if you're mobility challenged or you're pushing your baby in a stroller, those walking trails aren't as great. You have something that has more smooth, stable surface to help people get around. Driving was the second one, 56% of the people in this survey said we needed me down all the way through the wall and then activities. The other one on the list was upgrading the playground areas, making sure that the code, make sure that we have a safe environment for all the families and children here, and potential conflicts. The last, so not all of those items are big ticket. Driver range, fitness center, obviously it would be, but dog park, walking trails, hopefully some of those things, upgrading the playground areas are things that are within the purview of the committee.
I want to say thanks to Dan Bessie and the long range planning committee members that really went into the survey and looked at the comments to be able to pull things out. So I appreciate all the work that they did. We'll also let you know that we'll do 2 town hall meetings in the coming weeks, and those will be out there so we can present more information to the community, make it more open for everybody, and then have an opportunity to take their feedback also.
Any other thoughts or questions on long-term planning members?
Great work. Thank you for putting that together.
Big work, Nancy did so much putting this together, work with the vendor, all that. So the other topic I have today, and I believe this is also in your package, is a follow-up from the Ways and Means Committee. When we came here talking about our 2024 plans, one of the items we talked about was member education. We know, based on our experience, that there's lots of folks that have strong opinions about what could be done or should be done, but we don't have the same ability to have people really understand how the financials work around here. We make it hard with all the acronyms and all the different flows of money and different restrictions. So we are coming back with 2 things. Hopefully this doesn't need to be voted on, which is really to get your thoughts around moving forward with these 2 items. So one was in the communique, maybe it's something that was quarterly, just doing a short piece like I did, like they do on the golf course, the golf piece around some rules, Cecil starting to do it with lake management. Can we do that from a financial point of view? So are there 2 topics that are straightforward, short, paragraph or 2, and we just continue to put out there that slowly over time, hopefully people can start to understand better, what's the reserve fund? What's the dedicated reserve fund versus a non-dedicated reserve fund? Maybe not the most interesting items to start with, but something along those things that we can get people maybe read and understand. So then the second topic, I want to get feedback or thoughts are, we talked about last time I was here with Ways and Means, is doing member meetings and just doing kind of basic financial. If people are interested in learning where the money comes from, what to do, how do we spend the money? Can we help them? So we talked about doing like financial basics, kind of 101. So we do have 2 topics that we suggested. We can do both of these, one of these, neither of these, depending on your thoughts. The first one was really that kind of finance 101. Where's money come from? Where's it going to go to? Put in your back of that bullet point potential agenda or outline. The second one was really around the reserve funds. What is R and L1 anyways? To really help people understand what they see and be communicated when they see those big budgets and numbers that most of us understand. So those are the 2 things we thought about. We'd love to do something starting this fall. That's what we had in our original plan. So that's really what we want to move forward with, is those kind of concepts. So, Brady, I'll say on the Ways and Means Committee, is there anything you would add or anything I missed from that perspective?
We kind of talked talked about maybe even do like a, did you know, here at the meeting, but that's gonna, solve any troubles, or any problems that we have, so I gotta be another way to do something like that.
Yeah, we talked about whatever the venue, I go back to the member survey, part of what was asked in there is how would you like to get updates? Be it email, the regular process, contact communities, maybe we can look at some of that and add to some of those areas where people want to get information.
Would it be possible to video presentations,
Yeah,
I'm disappointed but not surprised about the complaint that we always hear about Black communities.
Right.
It's out there, people just don't
Yeah.
partake in the racism stuff. So maybe that's at least something.
so absolutely, we talked about using some of the capabilities we have, to broadcast them live and then, have a recording available. So if anyone wants to, and, maybe after the fact, and then through process like that, say, hey, last month we couldn't make it to there's never one update, click this link, you can find it.
Thank you very much. I think that in the education part, I think it's much needed. And, the more people understand, the less anxiety they have about what's going on, and I think that's a great idea.
When we're told that we have an open bar to get people there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the more you can educate our members, the better off we are. And if that, whatever it takes to do that, it's a good thing. Yeah, and again, it's one of those try and learn and try again kind of concepts. I mean, if we try this a couple times and literally standing here by myself, then, let me try something else and, keep moving forward. But, we continue to hear, like, I don't understand, why can't we do this? We're looking to communicate, we have $4 million. Why are you telling us that we don't do these things? And it's, everyone's in good intention, but it's just a lack of understanding that keeps that conversation happening. Yeah, I also think it's a consistency of the message too. Right. That, let's not tell people we got 4.5 million, we're okay. Right. There's things that need to be done with that. And we've tried, right, in a number of different ways over the last couple of years, and probably haven't been super successful, so we're going to continue to learn how to try and do it more effectively. That's a good idea. All right, so I'll draft together the presentations, and then we'll send it out to you guys via email. And if you can just follow up and just give me any thoughts or comments, and then I'll work with Bill and Rich around potentially scheduling these times. We talked about potentially piggybacking with the long-term planning members, town halls. Maybe that's a good idea. Yeah. Because that way you can get, hey, we don't all want this, but here's the reality of what we have with it. Right. If that's a viable option, it's great. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Dan. Excellent.
Hey. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, Dan. Sure.
And thanks to the long range committee. We appreciate your efforts. This is the second and last chance for any member comments of this meeting. So if you have a comment, please stand, give us your name and line.
Hi, Jim Adams, lot 666. First, I want to say, really appreciated Dan and Cecil's presentations. They were very informative. And Dan always does a great job of just making things simple and presenting it to you guys from his committee, so I appreciate that. The other thing I came up and I guess I think I'm aligning with what Nan, I don't want to put words in her mouth, but what I heard Nancy saying about the front entrance. It sounded like we're not, that project could be put off, and maybe the golf course or the driving range got in front of it, maybe there's something else got in front of it, was the way I heard. But that project has been a high priority for quite some time. We had an election to acquire land up there related to it. We've had countless architectural plans for that project. And then there was even a vote not too long ago to approve money to spend on that project. So I know things get complicated. I even complicated things myself when I was on the board. Just trying to do what I thought was the right thing. But it's just imperative that you guys be very transparent with what's going on, if it's gonna get delayed, why it's delayed. I hear rumors but I don't know if those are true, so just please, I think it's important for the community to know exactly what's going on and why something is getting prioritized over it, if it is. So, and not that you guys aren't transparent, maybe some of you guys are surprised too, so. So, I think Nancy was calling for that transparency too. And finally, I think it was last meeting, you guys had some audit report that talked about the membership fee and how that might have, some implications related to being a fee and being related to the IRS taxation stuff. Is there anything that came of that question?
Yeah, it was, the point that Sam Timothy was making is he wanted the IRS to be clear on exactly what that fee is. And it was not, it was a suggestion, he said, maybe you ought to think about changing the name of it from initiation fee to something else. And yeah.
Yeah, your audit report said something different, what I heard last meeting, and it also had a different.
No, it did not. When we had the debrief meeting with Sam Timothy, his point solely was he didn't want us to require the IRS agent that was reviewing our tax return to have to think too much about what that fee is. And he said it might help if we looked at changing the name of it, but we decided there really didn't need to do that. Yeah. Right.
That would be next month.
Right.
I know the numbers, if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was about 94,000 through August, and then currently to September 13th, we were about 106,000.
On it for the month of September? Or
No,
total
for total, yeah,
months?
yeah.
So on average, we're getting September month.
Yeah, we're okay on that fee. Any other comments from the members? Okay, if everybody is, no more comments, it is 20:09.
10 till 8.
10 to 8, all right, we're gonna, unless there, unless there is an objection, we're gonna go into recess